We'll start sitting comfortably, whatever that is for you. Letting the spine be long and erect, and just relaxing your body. Maybe close the eyes and let them be soft and start to elongate our breath. So we'll slow down the breathing as we take the inhale all the way down into the pelvis. And then exhale all the air out. Noticing if there's any tension in the body anywhere, and you can just direct the breath to that area. Allow the belly to relax, the shoulders, the jaw, tongue, the brow, our hips. And then we'll do 3 alms just with our exhale. So starting with that ah, which is the root chakra, moving the energy up to the heart, which is the ooh, and then the moves it up to the head and to our third eye. So just at your own, in your own way, just take 3 breaths. Then when you finish, just continue to breathe fully and evenly. And then we'll allow our arms to come out from our shoulders and just moving our spine a little bit, letting our spine get a little space and movement, reaching the arms forward and then bringing the arms back and lifting the heart. Just moving the spine and the arms in any way that feels good to you. Kind of snaking the spine and the arms, or letting all the vertebra move, letting joints move and our shoulders and our arms. Just gently as we breathe. And then go ahead and let your arms come down by your side. And we're going to start by bringing our legs into what would be called an untied shoelace. So your right leg in front of your left leg, start there. And you can try to line them up as best as you can. So it's kind of like if you were sitting cross-legged and you just uncrossed your legs and let them be next to each other, but you bring them out a little ways. So just find what works for you in that sort of position. And then we're going to take our right arm up by our ear, take your left hand to the mat, and with our hips rooting into the ground, go ahead and lean into that stretch. We won't be here for too long with the arm up, stretching over the head and pressing our hip into the ground. So we elongate the right side of our body and we feel a stretch there as well as the gallbladder over meridians, getting a good stretch as well. The spleen. Just breathing here. Your head might like to look down or just kind of relax on your shoulder or whatever feels good for the head and neck to hang out here. Want to make sure our head and neck aren't feeling discomfort. Just breathe. And of course, we can always come in and out of a pose or find your own modification or variation. It's not about how the pose looks, right? It's always about how it feels. So we come into it through our feeling. And it's okay to have some discomfort and to breathe through it as long as there's no pain. So feel free to kind of challenge yourself a little bit in that regard. So we'll go ahead and press up from there. Just bring your right arm down and then lean slowly forward toward the legs, and you can just rest your hands on the ground. If you need maybe a little support under your knees, you can always sort of wedge your arms underneath to lift them a little bit. One needs a little help. Just feel that stretch through the lateral hip, through the sacrum, down through the outside of our hips, thighs. Just letting go here into the pose. We always want to find our edge, right? Find that place where there's a little bit of resistance. And then we stop and breathe there. And we just hold in the pose until and unless our body invites us deeper or tells us that we need to back out a little bit. Just find that place. Play with our edges a little bit. You can always adjust your legs or make any little adjustments that you like as you go into this stretch. So go inside and just notice what's happening in our body, what's happening in our mind, in our feelings, the sensations. Okay, so slowly press yourself up from there and take your time. We always want to come out slowly. And you can just lift the legs up, maybe stretch them out and Give them a shake or a windshield wiper, the knees, whatever feels good to you. We'll bring our left leg to the front. So if you were crossing your legs, but you want to uncross them, sort of try to line the bottom half of our legs up as much as they will. And just taking our left arm over, pressing your right hand into the ground and your left hip to the ground. Feeling that stretch through our side body and our rib cage and our arm and shoulder. Again, whatever feels comfortable for your head and neck here. One side might be different than the other. Move your hand farther away for more stretch or bring it closer in if you need to. So yin is all about surrender. We surrender to whatever is happening in the asana, whatever that brings up, which might not be anything, or it might be something surprising. We don't know. We don't have any preconceived ideas. The mind is often very quick to try to rush ahead and find something outside of the present moment, right? So we just notice that. It's okay. The mind is what it is. It does what it does. Okay, so go ahead and bring that left arm back down. And just walk ourselves forward a bit. And again, adjusting the legs if you want, or supporting underneath the legs if they need support. You can also put a cushion or a block underneath your knee. I just like to use my arm. You feel like you can explore moving your legs further away from the hips and just kind of explore that little variation. as we continue to breathe easily and fully and evenly, noticing where the sensations are happening in the stretch. Kind of like allowing your body to speak to you. And perhaps the deeper and longer we can be in a pose, the more chance our body has to speak to us. We don't normally think of our body as being something in and of itself. We just consider it to be an extension of ourselves, but kind of has a life of its own, has its own voice. Each cell in our body, they're finally discovering, scientists, that each cell actually has its own brain. So not only does our heart have a brain, but each cell has its own brain. There's an intelligence in every cell of the body. Okay, so slowly start to press yourself up from there. Oh, and then as we come up, we might lift our legs, uncross them, and just do whatever feels good to your knees and your hips and your legs. Here. Get the blood moving if it's needing to get going here. And then we'll bring our legs into a straddle or a dragonfly, and feel free to start with, not too wide of a straddle if you need to, and make it wider as you go or whatever feels comfortable. But we want to make sure our pelvis is on top or lined up on our sits bones and not tilted back. So making sure that you have that alignment. And then we can just come forward and relax here. And bring a pillow under your arms if you want, or something to support you. You can sit on a pillow if you need that for your hips. Noticing the stretch and how your knees are feeling. If your knees need support, you can stick something like a little bolstering under the knees to help there if they feel too much stretch. Our breath is an interesting phenomena that is sort of like the best kept secret. So it's our gateway to the mind. It's our key to the body. that synergistic relationship between our body, our mind, and our breath that is cultivated through these long held stretches and poses that we do that we like to call yin yoga. And something we tend to take for granted. The breath with us through our whole life. Can't really stop it. We can't control it and make it go away. It's basically in charge. Breath is equated with the spirit, and it's our connection to the spirit realm, the cosmic breath. It breathes us. There's magic and medicine in the breath. Yogis of old, of times gone by, have completely altered their consciousness and their states of being simply through the breath. Many people have cured their illnesses simply through their breath alone. Okay, so go ahead and start to press yourself up there slowly. And then we'll just lean back and kind of bring our legs together. Give them a little movement. And just take a moment to stretch forward over the legs, caterpillar. So we won't be here too long, but we'll relax forward. If you're able to reach your feet, you might want to grab hold and stretch them towards you a little bit, increasing the stretch in the back of the calves and back of the legs in general. Reaching the arms long and getting a stretch under the shoulders. If you can't reach your feet, just let your body, just let gravity have you and relax over the legs. Any forward fold is a relaxing to the body naturally. Of course, if we can let our spine round and our head hang, we get that nice stretch through our whole spine and decompress the vertebra, neck, a nice stretch. Okay, go ahead and start to come up by walking the hands alongside you to lift up. We can bring our hands behind us and let's draw our shoulder blades together a little bit, lean back, lift the heart, and bring our feet in and lift and lower the hips if that feels comfortable to you. Get some blood moving through the legs. And then we'll make our way around to our belly and bring our arms alongside our body. Come into infant pose. So we can draw our shoulders back, reach for our feet and lift up here, just lifting the head and chest up a little bit off the ground and engage all of our back muscles, backside. And then bringing the elbows underneath the shoulders, Sphinx. Maybe rocking the hips a little bit side to side. Good to you, letting the pelvis relax. Might like to lift our head and look up for a little while as a counter pose to the forward fold. Doing whatever feels comfortable for the head and neck. Always rest your chin on your hands if that's helpful. It feels tired. Also lift the feet and add a little more stretch and a little more compression in the lumbar spine. Just remembering that it doesn't really matter how the pose appears or if it's exactly the way you did it last time, right? It's how it feels in our body. We use the pose to get into our body, not our body to get into the pose. So we'll take a short break in half frog by sliding our left knee up toward our left shoulder, and then we'll slide our right arm underneath our left shoulder or left arm, and just reaching that arm, letting your head rest on your left hand, or wherever you happen to have a pillow, you can bring that in. We get it stretched through that right shoulder. Letting that hip relax into the ground. And we can go ahead and slide our left leg back down and draw the right arm back through to come into Sphinx again, or seal if you want to widen the arms a little bit and straighten them for seal. Spreading the fingers wide. Also bring yourself up so the pelvis is off the ground if that feels good to you, or put a pillow underneath the pelvis for support and seal. Just going in and out of any of the variations of Sphinx and seal that feel right for your body. Full of minutes. Sure our breath stays even, doesn't get labored. It's our cue that we need to come back out of the pose a little bit if our breath starts to get labored. Noticing. I've noticed that there, or at least for me, there can be a little bit at times, a little bit of a lightheadedness, right? Because we are opening up these energetic channels that run through our body on the subtle levels. And so that can happen, and that's totally natural and to be expected. Especially since we're on the ground, we're not going to get dizzy and fall down. But just noticing the breath so that it stays even and not labored, no matter if you do kind of come into a little bit of lightheadedness at times. It's our breath that moves, helps us move that energy through the body. So it's a very important part of yin. like that, but opening up the lung capacity at the same time, right? So we do exercise our lungs as well, really help them open, breathe more deeply. If you are up in seal, you can start to maybe make your way down to Sphinx gradually, gradual way. And then we'll slide our right knee up toward our right shoulder and slide our left arm underneath the right shoulders. Relax on our right hand or arm. All right, so go ahead and slide your right leg down and draw your left arm through, and we'll make our way onto our knees. You're able to be on your knees, or you can find another position where you can move your spine. We'll just gently start to round our backs, curl the tailbone under, just moving slowly and gently through rounding and arching of our spine. Spine moves slowly so that it gets used to and comes back into balance. After going between the forward folding and the back bending, we have to do a little recalibrating of our spine. And then we can circle our hips and just kind of let our body go wherever it likes to go, a little circular movement. Ribcage go. In the other direction. One direction might feel awkward to you. I find one side feels, one way feels a little bit different, awkward. The other. And then we can sit back into a child's pose. If you're not able to be in a child's pose, or you need to choose a different pose, you can come onto your back and come into happy baby, something like that. And if you want to be in child's pose with your legs apart, that's comfortable. You can open the hips a little bit, feet together or feet apart. Find what feels right for you. You can also have your legs together. That's preferable. like to call child's pose the ultimate yin pose. It's such a pose of surrender and letting go, and yet there's a lot happening in terms of nourishment, of stretching through the various channels and the hips. Nourish our knee joints and our hip joints through compressing them. Okay, so go ahead and start to come out from there. And we're going to come on to our back, unless you're already on your back, in which case you can stay there. And plugging our knees into our chest. Relax your body, maybe rock around a little bit here. You might like to hold on to the knees and just stir them, kind of stir the leg bone in the hip socket. Hip relax and let go. And then we'll bring our legs into the air. So just straighten your legs in the air with the feet up toward the ceiling. Let your feet move if they want to. Be soft or bent as much as they need to be. And use your hands to support your legs. Letting the blood come back towards the heart here. And then we're going to bend. Let's bend the left leg and then cross your right leg over so that you're above the ankle, above the knee, like that, in a figure 4, which is also called supine swan in yin. And just reach through and grab hold of your thigh or your shin if you want to pull that leg in a little closer. It's wherever you want to hold on. Might just kind of gently press the right elbow, rest it into that right thigh. Also, you can bend and straighten the left leg or hold it up, just whatever feels good to you. This pose. Lightly rock the body side to side a little bit and explore the stretch a little bit as well. Remember, we make the asana our own. We find the edge and then we explore a little bit. And then what we'll do here is go ahead and allow the right leg to slide all the way across so that your knees are stacked. The right knee on top of the left knee. And grab hold of your calves and just curl up toward your knee. Just curl into a ball, pulling the legs toward you a bit. Head toward knee, knee toward head. And then we can relax our head down, and we're going to take our legs over to the left. You may want to have a bolster there to support your legs, to help support your legs, extending the right arm out from the right shoulder, and also use your left hand to help support the legs, just whatever way you can to allow the legs to totally let go and relax. And the right shoulder on the ground. Just letting go into this twist. If the knees are a little bit higher up, the twist will be more in the upper part of our spine. Whereas if our legs are farther down, that brings the twist lower down in the spine. So it's up to personal preference, just where it feels good to you. And we can use our right hand maybe to pull that right leg up and bring our legs up and come onto our back again. And just kind of relax your body, maybe rock around. You can bring your bolster to the other side if you have one. And then we'll bring our legs up again to the ceiling. Again, you might move your feet. That feels good to you. And then we'll bend our right leg and cross our left leg over. Reach through and grab hold, either the thigh or the shin. might like to pull your legs in towards you, or like to bend and straighten that leg, or whatever feels good to you on this side to give a stretch. Curl into a ball, maybe. All options. We just want to make sure we're feeling that stretch through our outer thigh, in this case, our left thigh and our lateral hip. So getting into the IT band as well as the whole hip and the thigh. We get into the sacrum a little bit and the glutes, get a stretch. I'm watching the snow cascading down from the roofs, the roof next door, which tells me that it's not super cold. So I can kind of gauge the temperature by how long the snow stays on the roof. And then at a certain point, it starts cascading down and it sounds like an avalanche, which used to be a little bit of a shock, and it used to startle me when I first moved here because I didn't know what it was, and it was like took me a while to get used to it. This loud thundering, especially if it happened at night and there was a lot of snow. Okay, so we'll slide the left leg all the way across to stack the knees. And if you can, grab hold of your calves and just pull the legs towards you, curl up and into a ball. Take a couple breaths here. And then we can lie our head back down and guide our legs over to the right, extending our left arm out from our shoulder. And if you need to adjust your hips, that you scooch them or over a little bit, just any adjustments you need to make, supporting our legs in some way. And if this twist isn't comfortable for whatever reason, there are many ways to do a twist. You can always extend one leg down the mat and just cross that top leg across your body. Just and vary it and make it your own as long as it's a twist. It's twisting these nice relaxed twists at the end of a practice that reset and recalibrate our nervous system and our spine, and also really relaxes the body, nourishes our organs, particularly our digestive organs. As we lie here in our twist, we notice how the mind has relaxed over the course of the hour, and how the breath has deepened and relaxed. Might want to continue to lie in this twist on the side for a little longer. Or if you prefer, you can start to come out slowly and just whatever feels right for you. But feel free to stay in the twist. Or if you're coming out, just find a comfortable position on your back. Do any movement that feels good to you, whether that's hugging your knees or taking your time, taking a moment to integrate, and just taking some nice, full, even breaths, feeling the energy circulating throughout the body, feeling that synergistic connection of our brain and our mind with our breath and our body, and appreciating that. As you breathe and relax, I'm just going to read a quote from someone by the name of Anne Lamott. I've heard of her before. To love yourself as you are is a miracle, and to seek yourself is to have found yourself for now. And now is all we have, and love is who we are. So feel free to continue to lie down and relax, or to get up slowly. And I thank you all for coming today.